Well, welcome to Paulette's Paper Play, and today we are doing Smitten with Kittens. Now, you may know that here at Paper Wishes, we are truly smitten with kittens, and this is just going to be perfect. Lots of goodies to play with. Here is one of the projects that we've done, or I've done, and when I open this, you can see that whole panorama of kittens. Yes, we are smitten with them. Won't you please come play with us? Okay, now the Smitten with Kittens, there are 8x8 sheets, and there are 16 of them, and there are 162 cutouts, my goodness. But let me show you how these work. By the way, on the back of the package, of course, there is a card, that first one that I showed you, at least the front of it. Now, each of the sheets is going to look like this. So we've got the kittens, and then you've got some greetings, but then you're also going to have two of this. Now, it's just duplicated. So we kept all of the greetings at the edge so that you could use the back of these papers as you choose. So that's how they're going to come to you. So this is the first one here, and that's the back of them, pretty. Here is the second. And you can see them, just darling. And the back of this has got the orange dots. Here we have the blue with all these little guys. And the back of this is the blue, kind of a teal actually. And then we have the green, or one of the greens. And there's the back with the text background, kind of scruffy. Oh goodness, okay. Oh, okay, here we go. we're still in sync. So here's another orange. And the back of this is the dot. And here is a green, darling. And there is the back, so kind of a blue-green. And then we have the pink. And on the back is the pink. And then we have these larger ones. So these are 4 inches square. And we have two of those. So that's all of the pieces. And by having the photos of the kitties and all of these greetings, you really have just a wonderful combination of things to work with. So I will be showing you the sheets that I used on every single project. Just in case you're thinking, boy, they really are smitten with kittens. These are things I did not use. These are some dazzles. This is just looking. I don't know that you can really see much, but I wanted to tell you that we do have other cats in the garden. We have got a sassy cat in brown. We have cute kittens in black, and we have our regular dazzles with the kittens. And so all of these, we do have lots of kitten things, so just very fun. So let me just show you this. We'll go through this with the card I showed you in the beginning, and it is using one of those larger 4x4 pieces that is on this sheet, and did use that one. And I just thought that the thinking of you as that little one is resting was quite perfect. So you can see that I used the orange dot on the back of it, and the orange dot comes on this sheet. Ta-da. So that's what I've used. I did cover the whole card with it. This is our regular 5 by 6.5 inch card. And then I did use our fancy border lace dies, dazzles. And I know that you can't see much there, but one of the things I just wanted to tell you, and I do use this often. So this is the widest border that's on this sheet, but you can see I cut it in half. So I just left it on the sheet, and I put it in my paper trimmer and just cut that straight. And those are the two sides. So you get 2 out of the 1. And I did keep the straight edge against the outside of the card. And then this is another one. And then I added just this very narrow one, just right around the photographed. The thinking of you was cut out, and let me just show it to you. There it is. Okay. So when you have these, you can cut right next to the words, or you can leave that border. In this case, I left the border, and I did mat it on white cardstock. So you'll see white cardstock separately done, and foam taped it just to the right of my kitten. So I just thought that just worked really well. Now for the inside, Okay, there. So again, 2 more pieces of the dot, and it is smaller than each of the sheets. Then for all of these, I wanted to get a solid that would work with all the colors, and I did. And this is Flit and Flutter solid. So you can see it's going to have the pinks, it's going to have the oranges, it has the blues, and it has the greens. So this just worked perfectly in the whole set. It doesn't have the white. It had kind of a cream, so that's why I've listed the white separately. So in this case, I did use the other thing I used all through these is the precision press. Now, you don't really have to use this, although I just absolutely love it. But you want to use either the Specialist glue or the Nuvo glue. That's going to work best with these particular papers. Okay, so after having my 2 pieces of dot, then I went into the panoramic card. Now, this is a fun card. It stands up and has windows on all 4 sides, but instead I wanted to do this in the center. So I used this die and cut it out twice out of the orange that's out of the Flit and Flutter. And what you get with that is you get 2 pieces like this. Let's see how I can show that to you. Okay, so what you're going to do is to place extra sticky tape on the back of one of these pieces, or on the front of this piece, and then you're going to attach it like so, okay? And then you're going to trim off the extra flap. Okay, so you only need this. Then you're going to fold it in the middle. It's going to be a mountain fold. And then each of the other folds are going to be valley folds, just like that and just like that. Then you're going to take the kittens that you choose and glue them behind the frames. So let me show you that. Let me show you what I chose. And they are right here. So on these sheets, I have marked them with a piece of low-tack tape. So for my first kitten, it's this one. So you're going to want to trim it out and then attach it to the back of the frame. And obviously, you're going to do this before the frames are attached to the card. You may need to trim this down, but you do want to have glue, you want to have room of this to glue it to the back of your frame. Okay, so this is the first one. Then my second one is this little guy, very sweet with the blue flowers. So you can see that one right there. And then my third one is this. So I kind of chose these tabby cats to kind of go with the orange. And then the last one is this little guy. So I wanted each of my end kitties to be facing into the card, just like that. And you can see they all have the orange tabby look on them. And so again, I glued them behind the windows, and you may need to trim the paper. That's perfectly fine. Something I just noticed that I did not share with you is that on these frames, there is a narrow top and a thicker bottom. At least that's how I use them. So when you go to glue your kittens in place, you might want to pay attention to that. That with this having a wider bottom, you've got room for the greetings. And so that works nicely. Okay, so here we are. So after you have your kittens placed, then you glue just the 2 outside ones. They're going to be equal to the outside edge of the cards on both sides. And you're just going to glue the whole piece down, okay? Then you can add your greetings. So I like this because life is better with cats. We know that's true. Enjoy the little things. That's my little kitten. And then meow is my favorite sound. Life is better with whiskers. And remember we used the white dazzles on the front? Well, I did the same thing on the inside. So I used the more decorative pieces at the top and at the bottom. And then I also used the smaller borders just going down to the greeting and on each side of each of the frames. So these 2 match, these 2 match, these 2 match, and these 2 match. Okay, so they're all in pairs. So I think this is a statement, don't you think? A good way to start our Smitten with Kittens. And okay, so I'm going to set this aside. We'll go into our next one. So this is my orange. Now here's my pink. And this was much fun to do. And I used, okay, so let me show you. I do want to show you the kittens. However, I want to show you the background. And let's see if I have that here. Okay, it is this one. And so it's kind of this scuffed, larger dot than some of the others. And because I knew that I wanted to use the frame, so anyway, I cut this piece a little bit smaller than my card. By the way, there are directions. I've written them for you. They are down below. Just click on the card and you'll see the directions. So you'll have all the measurements and so forth. So in this, I used our Windows and Frames card cutting die. Now this has all of these frames, which is exactly what I used. It also has one piece. So if you elect to cut out your front of your card, you've got a piece that's going to fit our 5 by 6.5 inch cards perfectly. I wanted the frames, so I just cut them all out of the pink Flit and Flutter. There you go, bright pink. And so I just cut all of those out. Then I went about selecting my kittens. And let me show you what I chose. So I went with smaller pieces. So my first kitten is right here. And you can see that he is smaller. And so I decided to use that one. So I just cut that out. Then I went with this little guy because his ears I thought would fit in the oval. They didn't, so I'll show you what I did. Then I used, don't worry about that, that's on the inside of the card. I used this little guy and put him in the rectangle. And then I used just his little face in the smaller square. So this one is in the larger square, smaller square for this little guy, and then this is the rectangle. Now I had the oval left over. And what I did is I took him and placed him or her onto my self-healing mat, and I used my pen knife, and I cut just around each of the ears, just that. And then I slipped the oval over him. Can we get in closer? And just slid that and let the ears poke out of the top. And I thought that was really fun. So then I glued each of the finished pieces. So I glued the kittens to the back of the frames, and then I positioned them like so. And I wanted to leave room for just a purring note. I thought that was perfect. And that's foam taped, and you can see I left the border just as it comes in the card. Then I wanted to add something more. So I chose, these are the Elira Precious Pink flowers. And you can see it's got a variety of pinks in it. It's got little pearls in the center. And so I've got 3 up here just going around that oval, 1 here and 2 down there. And I thought they just filled that out quite nicely. Okay, then the center of my card, I've got another piece that was left over of that same printed that I used on the front. And then I took this cat, which is why it has a different marker on it. Can you see why I needed to mark these? And cut that out, then matted it on the bright pink. Notice I glued it offset just a little bit over this dotted paper. And then I did foam tape a warm, cuddly hello. So this reads just a purring note and a warm, cuddly hello. And then 3 flowers down here kind of going sideways, and then just 1 right up there. And I still had tons of flowers left because there are, well, I can't see it, but I think there's like 30 in here, so there's a ton of flowers. So that is my pink set. So very fun to do. And by the way, if you don't know about the kittens that we found here at Paper Wishes and we rescued and that now live with me, go to the homepage, go down to the bottom, and you'll see the photos of them. Now, this is a different look, and this is a flap on the front, and then we have the green area, and then we have the orange and pink area. So let me show you what this is. So you're going to take your card. Now, normally your card would be like this with the fold, but you're going to turn it so the fold is at the bottom, okay? Don't worry, it's okay. Then we're going to take the teal dotted, and we're going to use the arch that is, I think it's 3 3/8 inches. So let me pull this out. And I think it is this one. So I just wanted to find one that would be, that would work well with this large image. And I just thought that was so sweet. Doesn't that just look at you? And endless gratitude, isn't that what that kitty is saying? Okay, so yes, we do get involved with these. So what I did is I took the teal dot and I folded 1 inch at the edge, okay? And then I placed this arch so that this edge, the straight edge, would be outside that fold. That way, when I ran it through my die cutting machine, I had a flap. And let me show you. So it looks like this. And that way I didn't have to add another piece to attach it. And I felt very good about that, okay? So for this one, after I've done my arch, and I'm going to put that away so I don't lose it. And there are 6 arches in this, and I love the arch shape. I just think it's so pleasing. And it was fun to do this as a flap on top of my card. So for this one, let me show you where I got it. I got it right here. And just cut it out. I did mat it on the bright blue. In fact, that's the one that's in the front of the pack of Flit and Flutter. And very narrow. This is about 1/16 of an inch. And glued that to the front, and then Endless Gratitude, which I think is perfect, cut off the edge of it and foam taped it at an angle. Now, these little guys are from this set of dazzles, and this is called Perfect Cat, P-U-R-R-R-F-E-C-T, perfect. And this is actually the one that I used. So I wanted you to see this because it's just a little bit more evident when the pieces are removed. So this little row of paw prints I put right under here. Okay, so I'll tell you about the others as I place them. So that finishes this, but then because the backing is going to have images, I cut another teal and I trimmed the straight edge a little bit so that it would fit here, okay? This is right here. It's this strip, and I just attached it right there. I thought that was cute. Okay, now that takes care of my flap. How about the front of my card? Well, I decided to use the green dot, and then for that one, I wanted to use this kitty because I thought it was just so soulful. Actually, both of those are. And I thought I would do the same thing that I did on the last card, which I did. So I brought back the self-healing mat, and I put this little kitty on it, and I put my pen, my retractable pen, and I just cut around that little paw. Okay, retract the blade, move this off, and then I matted it onto, and I did trim it down so you can see that this is the full piece, but I really just cut it down to be just right around that kitty, just to really let that pop. I matted it on the green Flit and Flutter, and when I glued it down, I wanted to make sure it would be hidden behind this flap, okay? So there it is. Thanks for being a great friend. I slipped under that paw, and I have it going the opposite way. So on the front, it's going up to the right, and in the back, it's going up to the left. And these kittens, they were actually part of this piece down here. So I cut them and placed one on this side and one on that side. And then I also used, this is from the Thin Line Dazzles. This is the thin line primary because this is green. So that all just matches perfectly. Okay, now the other thing, as kind of actually when I got to this point, I'm thinking, okay, this is arched, this is a nice curved. How about doing the curves on the corners? So I brought in the corner punch, and I'm going to use it here, and I'm going to use it on the next card too. And I did, you've got three areas. You've got a 4 millimeter, 7 millimeter, and 10 millimeter. I used the bigger one, the 10 millimeter, and I just cut each of the top corners just to, you know, duplicate that curve look. Okay, now we're going to go to the inside of the card, which is yet another color, and this is using that orange and pink sheet. And I took the triple kittens, which I thought were so cute. This one, matted it on an orange from Flit and Flutter, perfectly done. And this, I didn't have to be careful about positioning it. I just put them in the middle. And You Mean the World to Me, and one of the paw prints, because you've got some individual ones. And then this little guy is right here, so he's climbing up, and I thought that was cute, so I put that there. This is part of the white Fancy Dazzles that we used. Didn't we use that earlier? No, we didn't. I did when I was working with it, and then I didn't use it again. But this is the same one that we used on the very first card. So you'll have some pieces left, and you can just add that right there. Okay, so this is reading Endless Gratitude. Thanks for being a great friend. You mean the world to me. So I think anyone would really appreciate getting that, whether they're a kitten lover or not. And why wouldn't they be? Okay, so that is our third card. And I have one more. So you can see that I was really generous, because with 100, I think it's 162 cutouts, my goodness, you can use tons. I love the idea of playing cards, so I thought I would do that on the very last card. And I went into the light blue, scuffed, and I chose 3 kittens, and I did just lay them all out and choose whichever ones I wanted. I knew I wanted to use this kitten. It's more of a painted one than an illustrated, but I love the look of it. So I chose that, and I chose this little one right here, and I chose this little pink one. So I've got those 3. I cut them, and I inked the edges. Now I used the, of course, the blending brush, put each one separately onto my craft mat, and used Velvet Fawn and just ink the edges. I just wanted to give them a little bit of distinction without matting them. And so that's what worked. And just like the last card, I used the 3-in-1 punch. And it does look like playing cards to me, and I thought that was fun. So when I laid this out, I put the one on this side, one on this side, and then I foam taped this one in the middle. Smitten with Kittens, I thought was just perfect. This is the first time I think we've used a title as a cutout in the package, so that was fun. So as I had those placed, then I went with the blue border, and these are the Dazzles, and you can see that they just finish off the card. The other piece I did is to use our Your Perfect. Now we have Your Perfect in the Dazzles, but we also have the cutting die, and this is part of the Delightful Dimensional line. And this has got lots of kittens, and I'm going to be using many of them, but it also has butterflies. So I did the butterfly. Well, let's get in close on this, just really super, super close. Super, super, thank you. And I think you can see the lines that are cut in there. It just makes it more distinctive. And I did ink the edges with the lipstick ink pad just to give it even more dimension. Okay, so that finished my card front. I chose pink because I wanted it to match the border of my Smitten with Kittens. So I've got the pink and the blue look going. Then on the inside, okay, so I've gotten to the orange. And in this one, remember I used that image of the 3 cats? Well, there is also an image of here. Okay. Where are you? Okay, my kittens are all over. Okay, there it is. There's the image of the two kittens. It's the same image, just one kitten got cut out. So I used that, and I rounded the corners, and I foam taped it. Now notice it's over to the right. It's about an inch from the edge. And in this, I used these, one with the snow suede, and also with the mocha brown suede. So this is mocha brown, this is the white. And in order to have them looking more like the kittens, the snow one I inked with tiger orange. And then I went back and did, so you can see it right there. And then I went back and did the fawn just right at the edge. So, and I love this looking up and reaching for something. So I did an orange butterfly with some of the tiger orange on the edge. The same thing with this side shadow of a butterfly. And Life is Better with Cats, that's already matted in the orange, so that worked well. So that finished this card. So as I said, this has been foam taped. The corners have been punched. And so these two kittens, because this is color and these are, you know, a darker color and a lighter color, I feel like they're really getting the focus on these two little critters, and that's exactly what I wanted. So that's what I did. Now, I'm not sure how many of the cutouts I used, but I have a ton left, absolutely a ton left. And I do want to confess that indeed we are smitten with kittens around here. And that's just fine. We're happy with that. And as I said, we've got the Smitten with Kittens. I really did use the Flit and Flutter solid with them. So I added that to the Money Saver. I also added this little guy. This is the Perfect Cat Dazzles. So those are the ones that are in the Money Saver, which is on the right-hand side of your screen. I hope you like these. They were a great fun to do, and that was just really nice. And my two kittens, Misty and Shadow, are doing quite well. They are 10 and 11 pounds. They follow me everywhere when I'm at home, and they now love my dog, Belle, who also loves them. So it was a little tough in the beginning, but it's worked out just fine. Okay, if you happen to be watching us on YouTube, love to have you subscribe to YouTube, but please head on over to paperwishes.com. I do want to tell you, all of our webisodes are on Paper Wishes, and that's where that was our intention, was to have the information about how to use the products, other ideas, all right where you can purchase the products. Isn't that a good idea? You can certainly go on YouTube, but you're not going to miss anything if you're at Paper Wishes and if you sign up for our emails. And so that will work well for you. As I said, directions are written for every single item. Just go down, 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 down. You're going to see each of the images. Just click on whichever one or all of them that you want, and you can see exactly the measurements and everything that I used. Hopefully I've given you some ideas, but that will give you specifics, okay? So that's going to work well. I did have so much fun. If you haven't figured that out, it was really, really fun to do these and to play with them. This is a limited edition, so it's not going to be around for a long, long time, but probably until the next limited edition comes out, which will be in September. So enjoy your kittens. And no, we don't have plans to do a puppies, but you know, if we do, you'll be the first to know. Okay, thank you so much for joining us and for being absolutely the best part of paperwishes.com. Okay, bye-bye. See you later.